This is a very overwhelming story for me, and it's just been a lot to process.
Hi beautiful people, welcome back. Hope everybody is doing fantastic wherever you are in this world. Happy Tuesday. You guys, I just got my Johnson & Johnson booster shot, so we'll keep you up to date if it makes a difference or if it makes you feel a certain kind of way. Definitely will keep you guys updated. So anyway, you guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and the notification bell to be notified each time I upload. Please don't take what I say as fact. Feel free to do your own research and come up with your own conclusion, and I always like to put receipts where I can, so I'll actually insert all of those. Also, Mel Thompson, Gabby Petito's YouTube channels listed down in my description box. Please go and subscribe. I will truly appreciate you guys. Gabby Petito Foundation, if you'd like to donate, that link will also be down below. And Miss LLAMA Girl, that we owe all the thanks to for catching these lives, posting it, and she does a lot of hard work. So please go over. If you'd like to follow on Twitter, support her Twitter, that will all be listed down in the description box. So let's get into this. Katie Joy had actually done a live on her Instagram over the weekend, and basically she was talking about how people have reached out to her, telling their stories to her about the Duggar family, the ins and outs, and what they've seen and what they haven't seen. I'm going to play clips from that live for you so you can make a decision on your own and you tell me. But before we get into that, she made this post on her Instagram live. I want to be extremely clear about something. My job is to report stories. My job is not to report families to CPS based upon hearsay. I want to remind everybody that reads or watches my content that filing reports with the CPS when you do not know a child nor have witnessed the abuse firsthand is not advised, period. Do not call CPS on the Duggars or anyone I cover. My job is not to interfere. My job is to report what is happening, period. The Duggars have federal prosecutors breathing down their necks, and you best believe that all of the minor children are being watched somehow. Josh is not to have contact with any of his siblings or children. This means prosecutors are already involved. Do not report people you do not know to CPS based upon an article or video. Thank you. But her actually putting that statement up on her Instagram, it seems as though after her Instagram live that she actually had done the weekend, people seem to have taken what Katie Joy was saying about this family. And you guys, I promise you, she actually goes into such details about this family that does come across as fact. So if people were calling CPS, I can understand why. Because the way she was telling the story, which you can actually come to the conclusion on your own after I post these clips, and we can actually have a chat about this. It seems as though to me that possibly CPS has been to the Duggars' home, or CPS has been bombarded with calls in regard to the Duggars. But we'll see.
I have been very busy the last week or so. I just wanted to pop on here. I'm not here to really answer questions or anything. There has been a lot that's been going on, and so I know you've noticed that there has been a lot of stuff related to the Duggars the last, I don't know, week. And that's simply because I'm not trying to neglect any of the other content that you're used to seeing on the channel. It's more that within the last like 2 weeks, a bunch of people that are connected to them, or were friends with them, or were around them, or were close to them, or still are a part of their sort of lives, have been reaching out. And so it's been really, it's been a lot to process for me. It's been a lot of trying to source what it is that they're saying. So for instance, yesterday, last night, I was on a Zoom call for 4 hours with a couple people. And there's just, you know, and then again today I was on the phone for an hour and a half. And then last Sunday I was on the phone for 2 hours. And Saturday I was on the phone for 2 hours. There's just there's so much, and there's so many people that are wanting to share and wanting to say things, but then they don't want to go on the record. And so it's just been a lot. And there's, you're listening to their stories and you're trying to be really empathetic to what they're going through. Thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for bearing with me. It has been a very emotional week. It's been a lot of processing information that I'm given. And then once I'm given information, I'm trying to cross-reference everything, because I don't ever take someone's word as like, this is for sure, unless I can verify it against multiple sources. So I have now a network of individuals that I can use, and I can say, okay, do you know this? Do you know that? Did this happen? Did that happen? And if I have like multiple people that are telling me the same story, I can generally say, okay, it's probably somewhere in the middle, or it's, this is probably what did happen.
She has a network of people. How impressive is that, you guys? A network of people. One good thing about that, at least we know that our stories will be on point.
And so it's not that, and then a lot of you guys have been asking, like, how do you verify who these people are? I guarantee you know who these people are. Like, if you've been following the Duggars, you know who these people are. I'm just not going to say who they are because they've asked me not to. So, but none of these people's names are secrets. They're not like hidden. These are people that you have heard. So it's really easy to verify when literally it's people that have been in the public before. So why are they coming forward now? Well, it's pretty simple. For the last 20 years, the Duggars have been very powerful on network television, and they have had a lot of money and influence, and they've really silenced anybody that's tried to speak up and out. And so a lot of them are in a position right now where they truly feel like, okay, if I'm going to say something, I have to say it now. But
why now? In my opinion, Jim Bob Duggar is running for state senate in his state of Arkansas, okay? So it's my guess, totally my opinion at this point. Not accusing, not saying this is true or anything, okay? Maybe they are so, I'm talking about the family members, I'm talking about the kids, are so scared that Jim Bob will get this position. It'll make him so much more powerful. And I couldn't agree more. Go for it. Absolutely go for it. But in my opinion, why go through KJ? Why? And the only reason I say that is because let's take the most known example of the type of person KJ is. If you go to her and think that you're off the record, Renelle Eason. When she was all buddy-buddy with Renelle Eason was confiding in her, thought everything was off the record. Unfortunately, that was not true. Because when the tables had turned on KJ in regard to Renelle Eason, she went and she threw Renelle under the bus. She put Renelle in harm's way, in my opinion. When Renelle had found out something that she did not like about what Katie had done, in turn, what did Katie Joy do? She sat on her YouTube channel, which is still up, and I will link that down below. And she went and she put out every communication she had with Renelle Eason. The saddest part about that video was when she made the statement, some things are off the record, but they gotta get put on the record, something to that effect. She went and she totally went against what any journalist, as she calls herself, or reporter does, which is so wrong. And how can we even forget how she gave up her source when she was sued by Tati Westbrook, and still up to this day insists she won that case. But at the end of the day, to each their own. If it makes you feel better, why not?
There's still many of them in positions where they're terrified. And I don't think I can really underestimate, I can't really, to these people, I have to say this. They believe that in their world, in Arkansas, it's not a big community. So you have to think of it in the context that, you know, there's a lot of people in Northwest Arkansas, but this homeschooling, independent Baptist, IBLP world isn't huge. And so everyone knows everyone, even from church to church to church. They all are in the same circles. Their kids all know each other. And so to publicly come out is very scary to them, because if they are to go on record and say, like, I did this is not true, this is not true, they risk everything. Some of these people have already literally been ostracized or smeared, humiliated, made to be the bad guy, gaslit, accused of setting the Duggars up or turning the Duggars in, or whatever Jim Bob has crafted as a way to sort of make himself the victim and these other people the perpetrators, or the people that are trying to, like, they're jealous or they just want to take the Duggars down. It's been really overwhelming. And I'll say this, that what you guys are seeing on TV and social media is not the reality of what is going on in their lives behind the closed doors. And the cute Instagram smiles and the swipe ups and the we love our families, I really want to, like, impress on you guys how little freedom even the adult children have. So many of you guys, well, they're married, they have their own house. They're not. They do not have independence. They don't. They are financially controlled by their father, and they know what's going to happen if they try to break free. Jill was already made an example of to the family. So if you speak out against me, if you don't follow the status quo, you're going to end up like Jill. And Jill's been fully cut off. Jill has cut them off, but she was cut off. So I'm going to go on, YouTube, and I'll do some videos and stuff, but
she did this video yesterday, and not one thing mentioned in this video is anything new. It's all the same BS that she has spoken about at least 10 different times in 10 different videos, or even more by now.
Jill has provided a lot of details about herself. She has said herself what happened. It's a lot different to hear it from people that were there and what actually happened and how it was described and what Jim Bob said and how she was just trying to get answers and wanted accountability and wanted to get paid and wanted to know why her dad lied. And then she was, you're dangerous to this family. You can't see your siblings anymore. You're not allowed to come over, and you can't talk to your mom unless you talk to me and get my permission. So if you're a victim already and you've been victimized by your brother, and then you just want answers and you know something's not right, and then you're thrown to the trash, and then you're not allowed to see anyone in your family because you won't follow the script. That's a whole nother level of trauma. And, a lot of people have asked, like, how is she doing? Everyone I've talked to said she's going through a really rough time right now, but she's done a lot of therapy. So I want you guys to know that, like, even though this might be a tough season for her, the people I have talked to have said that she's gone through so much counseling, and she's in a way better place than she was, and she's learning about boundaries and everything. Like, her life is so different than it used to be, and it's not so connected. And if you think that she's, like, super close to her sisters, she's just not.
The people that she has spoken to, honestly speaking, clearly, we know, or to my knowledge, Jill is a very private person. Jill doesn't really have friends to my knowledge. I know that they did during the summertime go and visit Jeremy and his wife, and Katie Joy doesn't talk to those people, and I'm quite sure the only person that Katie Joy talks to is Amy Duggar King. And she'll say in the video to come that they are so close. Who's close with Amy Duggar King? Katie Joy.
She doesn't have a very close relationship anymore with any of her siblings. And she only sees them very seldomly, like very seldomly. They do not have relationships. It's it's not safe for her. It's not safe for her to have a relationship with anyone in that family. And I will say this, that Josh Duggar's crimes are a symptom of a greater illness in this family. And, you know, the really sad part that I've been hearing more than anything, that almost makes you feel like a little bit sad for Josh as a child, is that when all of this happened, when all of this was going down, when the stuff happened, when he was doing this stuff to his sisters and getting into trouble, he wanted help. He wanted to talk to people. He wanted his parents to help. He was asking for help, and they didn't give him help.
Who would be knowledgeable about this kind of information? We know the Duggars do not air out your family business. Absolutely not. They'll let you know what they need to know, but not such intimate details like this. Katie Joy has been covering the Duggars for years. Katie Joy has been nothing but awful to these kids, okay? Maybe now and again she'll have something nice to say, but the only people that I've ever heard her say something nice about is Jill Dillard. Maybe once or twice. But all of a sudden, she feels bad for Josh, because she finally, after 2 years of covering the Duggars, she came across this information. She feels so bad for Josh because he asked for help. Who could have given her this golden nugget of information? Who? Only somebody, once again, that's part of this family, in my opinion. For her to come to the point I feel she's actually sympathizing with Josh. She's feeling bad for Josh. Because as she says, Josh asked for help. After all these years, nobody has reported on this nugget of information. Important information that Josh actually asked for help. Now, in my opinion, only a family member would have known this.
He was told not to talk about it. He was told not to tell anyone about it. He was not allowed to talk about it. He was not allowed to process it. He was not allowed to deal with it. He was not allowed to, he was not taught anything about proper boundaries or anything. And Josh's problems did not fit into their agenda of being the perfect Christian family on TV. It was inconvenient for Jim Bob. And it didn't fit his image. And Jim Bob, when I tell you, is obsessed with his image, it's not an understatement. Everyone I've talked to, literally everyone, every single person I talk to says he's a raging narcissist. And he's pathological. Like the adjectives I've heard of his most closest confidants.
Did she just say, hold up. Did she really just say Jim Bob Duggar's closest confidants? What?
Narcissist, pathological liar, gaslighter, abuser, controller, and selfish. I've also heard he's very generous, but he likes to love bomb people, allegedly, so that they don't want to speak out against him. Please bear with me when I say this from my heart to you guys. You think about the Duggars and you're watching their stuff on Instagram and you think it's cute and you think it's sweet. please remember that there are adults that are not free. I talked to someone yesterday who said that they're horribly worried for Jana. Jana has no clue that she can move out. None. She's 32 years old and she does not know that she can leave. She does not know that she has legal rights to leave. That's horrible. Imagine being 32 and not knowing that you can leave. And it's not for her wanting to stay. It's not for her protecting her sisters. It's not for any of the reasons people think. She can't leave. Everyone says, oh, she doesn't want to leave because she's protecting her sisters. No, it's not that at all.
But this is what KJ has been reporting all this time.
She also was not touched by Josh. It was not about John David. It was because I was told by multiple people the reason why Josh did not go after Jana was because Jana was really aggressive and like very physical as a kid. And if he would have tried anything with her, she would have beat his ass. Like I heard multiple people say that. Like Jana would have beat his ass if he would have tried. I was also told that Jill punched him when he tried to do that to her.
Again, who else would know this kind of information besides a family member?
She was not down with that. So he only went after, over time, certain people that he knew he could get away with. And the way that it's been described on TV by them is so, oh God. It went on for years, you guys. It wasn't a couple months. It was years. It was going on from probably 2000 to 2003, 2004. No one can even say if it stopped. No one knows. No one knows at all. They just don't know if he just got better at hiding it. And then he quickly got him out of the house by getting him married to Anna. But multiple people told me that Anna wasn't told anything. Like, they didn't tell her anything. They, like, completely lied to her. And the sickest part of it, out of all of it that I heard, was that Michelle, like, allegedly told Josh to, like, never tell any of the girls that he was interested in until they got married. Like, she wanted Josh to keep it a secret so that they wouldn't want to be with him. Like, imagine your mom's telling you you need to lie about something that big. What I'm realizing is that there was so many lies and covering up that it just created this monster with Josh, where it was like he was in a really dangerous cult that was telling him it wasn't his fault, but he really had parents that were more concerned about being famous than actually dealing with the situation. And there was a lot of people that tried to help. In the past, I've been really critical.
You gotta be kidding. You truly got to be kidding. KJ she really is as critical about them. Mental note, KJ, you are always critical about them. Always.
Like, oh, where were all the friends? Why wasn't anyone helping? Y'all, there were so many people that tried to help and intervene. It just didn't. You don't intervene with Jim Bob, I'm learning. If he doesn't want your help and you say no to him, he'll like, I don't even know how many people I've talked to where it's like, once you cross him, you're ostracized from his life. Like exactly what happened to Jill is what has happened to so many people in their lives. So it's like Amy's in the same place. Derek's in the same place. Former friends are in the same place. His own sister's in the same place. It's a mess. I don't know what this means long term. I don't know where the story's going. I'm grateful that people are coming and sharing their stories and wanting to speak out. A lot of you guys are asking if they're going to, if people are going to want to go on record. And I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I am working hard. But they're scared. He has a lot more money than they do. He has a lot more influence than he does. He has a lot more influence than they have. they do. It's a small circle. It's scary for them. But everyone wants it to stop. Like everyone I talk to, they just want it to stop. They're afraid for the girls. They're super afraid for the girls in the house still. There's been discussions about the trial and if there's going to be witnesses, and I don't have anything verified yet, so I'm not really going to say anything on that. There could be a couple kids testifying against him, but I'm not going to release any of that information because that's protected by the court.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did she just not release and confirm that some of the kids would testify, but she wouldn't? Wait, hold on. Some of the kids would testify, but she wouldn't confirm it because it's protected by the courts? What am I missing here? Am I losing brain cells?
It's just a lot deeper than I think you even realize. And then there's the question of what happened to Josh, right? Everyone wants to know if he was assaulted too. Like, how did he get like this?
No, KJ. You did explain this. Check this out.
Well, yeah, I've said repeatedly that Josh didn't learn how to do those things to his sisters by accident. 1000%. You know that Josh didn't just come up with that idea. That's learned behavior. If you're a child and you're doing that to other children, you have seen it or it's been done to you. That's how it works. That's how the cycles work for children. Children don't come up with that idea on their own. Children don't consider doing this to other kids by themselves. That was learned. It was either Jim Bob that did it or someone that did it to Josh. Somebody in Josh's life did that to him, and then he did it to other kids.
There's literally no person that knows. Nobody knows. The Duggars haven't told anyone. If they've told anyone, it's nobody that's talking today. And they had a lot of really dangerous men around them growing up. There was a lot of pedophiles, a lot of men that had really shady histories with sexual assault, people coming in and out of the house constantly. Lots of people around them that had accusations of inappropriate sexual conduct. Literal pedophiles that were like living in their house for periods of time. Caleb Wilson was one of them. They had a sex offender dating one of their tutors at one point, and then she married him. The person that they used to talk to Josh was a pedophile. So there's a lot of just like really scummy people around them. So you just don't know. And nobody says anything, so you just can't really say. But the way that it was handled really made the situation worse. And I think in a lot of ways, had they addressed the issue or at least tried to do it in a more productive way and stopped what they were doing and like taken care of the situation and really put him in a long-term treatment facility, like residential mental health. What I'm actually learning is I really think there's a lot of people in that family that are struggling with very deep mental illness. And it's sad. And then they have a raging narcissist as a father. It's a lot more than we thought. I don't know if you should say this poor family. I think you should say these poor kids.
Absolutely, KJ. I agree with you 100%. I absolutely agree with you 100%. But let's go back and see how you truly feel about these kids.
They've said that, so at least two of them have said the reason they've reached out to me is because I've better represented the story than other outlets, and I provide a deeper history of the cult and the sort of mind games that happen within this cult. That, and I don't use a slant. Like I'm not some of the outlets can be really nasty to them and be really cruel, and I try not to be.
Katie Joy, let's be realistic here, okay? It's like pulling a tooth, in my opinion, to get you to speak about these Duggar kids as human beings. Josiah, how many times did you put it out there stating, don't even know if this is true, but saying he is gay? Jenna, there was a video you made on how she could be a lesbian. You even used statistics to prove that in a big family like this, at least one of the kids would be gay. The little girl, just not so long ago, you humiliated the cake that she had for her birthday. Not even to forget about Jill and Derek. When you spoke about them when they went on their vacation to meet Jeremy Roloff and his family, what did you in turn say? Oh, maybe she's going to do a video about their trip, their summer vacation, and it could be called Fundies in the Wild. When you say that, to me it sounds like you're referring to these people as animals. And let's not forget how you've been dragging Anna all this time. She needs to wake the fuck up. You just used her story for a fundraiser that you're doing that still has not moved anywhere. Clearly not that influential, okay? And who else? Oh, can we talk about when Jedediah was getting married? What did she refer to him as? Bunk bed Jed. So classy of you. So classy. And one more thing before I forget. You know how you were so deceased when your savior, Amy Duggar King, made that meme or tried to mock backwards Barbie? You were so deceased. Only small things amuse small minds.
I think Michelle is not kept in the dark. No, I think Michelle knows what's going on. I don't think Michelle is innocent, but I also know that Jim Bob's very controlling. It was a pretty amazing experience to, during my call last night, have a conversation with someone who had previously used corporal punishment and have an honest conversation, heart to heart, of me saying, okay, this is what you did, and you probably didn't think anything of it, and you were misled. And I want to tell you what the kids are telling me of what their experience was, of what your corporal punishment did to them. And then them actually listening to that. So that having those kind of conversations can't happen if you are nitpicking and humiliating them. Jill doesn't have very much contact at all with anyone in the family anymore. I don't think that anything I would say to Jim Bob would resonate. So I think I make clear my feelings about things, but I know just based on talking to people that nothing I say will matter to him. He'll just say that I'm a liberal that's persecuting him because he's a Christian, and I'm going after him because of his Christian beliefs, which is not true. Yeah, you can't confront a narcissist. Jill has limited contact with all of her sisters. Honestly, you guys, after what I learned yesterday, Jill should not talk to these people. No one should talk to these people. No one. There's a lot of illness going on in this, and it's a lot of sexual, the family's very sick, and she's not safe around them. In my opinion, There's a lot of unresolved trauma, and there's a lot of narcissistic abuse, control, and gaslighting happening. So she is not safe in a situation with these people. Don't file CPS reports, you guys. It's fair to I don't really know what's going on, honestly. Like,
did you honestly just say that you don't know what's going on? Seriously? Not even 5 minutes ago, you just said that the abuse went on for years and nobody even knows if it stopped. You learned that there are so many in this family that suffer with deep mental illness. And you even said that you feel that Jill is not even safe with this family. Jill is an adult. So imagine those poor little kids, or those kids that are still at home.
Josh can't have contact with them. Yeah, Jim Bob has tried to use some of the kids to like manipulate her. And he's like sent Jana places to like keep her in line and make sure she can't influence people. Yeah, don't file CPS reports on anyone. Trust me, like, you don't know. Unless you're literally in these people's lives, don't get involved. Jill and Amy are close. I don't think they see each other very much. They're both super busy. You know how Amy posted, like, if you don't address childhood trauma, like, it becomes like who you are in your adulthood. Or
Amy Duggar King is talking through her ass. She is talking a whole lot of shit by even making that statement.
There's a lot of kids in this family that literally have never been allowed to deal with their trauma. And because of that, and they've never been taught like proper boundaries for a lot of things, like a lot of people I've talked to just don't even feel safe even around the kids. And that scares me, like, really bad. I hope that there's not other boys in the family doing this, but I don't know. It seems like the issue could be bigger than Josh, and it's scary.
You just made a statement saying, it seems the issue could be bigger than Josh, and it's scary. That's a huge, bold statement to make. So what do you truly mean by that, Katie?
A lot of these kids grew up in a world where corporal punishment was the norm and boundaries were blurred. So people don't feel safe around them for a variety of reasons. I don't want to say like why. It's just they're very manipulated by Jim Bob. And they wouldn't like trust these people to like babysit their kids.
For people to actually not feel safe around this family, in my opinion, this is a huge issue.
The sad thing is, you guys, I think there was a lot of neglect in the house because there was so many kids. And I think that the Duggars had a very big agenda of becoming famous and making a lot of money with fame and making a name for themselves. Like Jim Bob spent a lot of his life trying to become famous. And that was his goal more than anything else. The kids just were not given enough attention. A lot of them were not raised by their parents, but were raised by their siblings. And I mean, I'm learning that even the Duggars, when they go on their videos and say, you know, we have heart-to-hearts with our kids all the time, I've learned that that's not even true because some topics they won't let them talk about. And so they're not really having conversations with all of their kids.
Something else that only a family member would know because they live in that home. They are living behind those closed doors, which nobody else can get access to. So if Katie knows that these people truly did not have the heart-to-hearts and they were not allowed to talk about certain things, how did she get to know that? Because if the Duggars are putting that for the world to see, but then somebody else is telling her, no, absolutely not. We were not allowed to have those conversations. We weren't not allowed to even talk about those things. Only somebody that lived in the house and that lived that life and that was actually not allowed to have these conversations would know that information. Honestly.
I actually feel like if they wouldn't have been on TV, it actually would have been better had they listened to the people that were around them at the time. The advice that they were given at the time by the people that were like the closest to them and cared about them the most was that they needed to get Josh into long-term treatment, that Josh needed extensive counseling, that the girls needed to be safe from Josh, that Josh needed to be removed from the house, and that the girls needed counseling. And that never happened. So had they had followed the advice of the people that were the closest to them at the time, things might have been very different. I think that a lot of people in this world watch my videos. In fact, three people have told me that Jim Bob's media person pays attention. And he has vented about me before, allegedly. I know, it's scary, you guys. Yeah, children cannot raise children. I mean, there was talks about how the kids are brought into rooms for spankings and they used rods. Sometimes there was glue sticks, allegedly. Other times there was wooden rods. But the spankings were never done in public. Yeah, we need to save these kids somehow. I do worry about my safety if I go to Arkansas, greatly actually. But because I am known and I'm an enemy, which is really sad, you guys. I'm not trying to be an enemy. I'm just trying to tell the truth. And I'm just trying to report the truth and try to help the people that have been affected by this tell their story. And I'll tell you, the people that tell their story to me, all they want is for this to stop. They want it to stop. They want the kids to be taken care of. They want the girls to be a priority. They want this game that's being played in the media to stop. They want accountability for Josh. They want accountability for Jim Bob. They want the kids to, have freedom and not have to live under their dad's thumb. No, everyone I've talked to said that Jim Bob is running for Senate because it's a deflective move for him to act tough and show you that he's got all kinds of money, clout, and power, and he doesn't care what you guys say. That's what I've heard. Of all the stories I've investigated, yeah, I'd say this is probably one of the worst for sure. Just because there's so much abuse that's been happening, or alleged abuse, and there's so much sexual abuse. There's so much psychological, spiritual. This is going to sound really weird, but in one of my conversations last night, and I'm not at all equating them exactly to the Turpins, but I said this reminds me of the Turpins without the kids being chained to the beds and not fed. They're in a psychological chain. I don't know if that makes sense. They're not free. They don't have freedom. So the Turpins were really horrifically abusive, and that they chained their kids and they didn't feed them and that kind of stuff, didn't let them go to the bathroom. But the Duggar kids are psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually trapped. I mean, Jana's 32 and doesn't know she can leave. And then you add the fame, you add the notoriety, and then you add the fact that there's this long con to the public about it. It's by far one of the worst stories I've ever covered. All of the adult kids besides Jill and Ginger I think, are financially dependent on Jim Bob. John David and Abby are still tight with the family. I just want... Joanna is not dependent, but Austin is like in Jim Bob's pocket. So it's like a double-edged sword. She's never going to be free from this. So you guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for being patient. I know there's other stuff that we should be talking about, but I feel like I need to give the attention right now to the people that are coming forward and speaking. Like, I feel like their points of view need to be shared, and I can only build trust with them by being as diligent in my reporting as possible and as thorough, and as also like protecting their identities.
So you guys, there you have it. And that was a lot for me, honestly speaking. It made me want to reach out and contact somebody, but we can't take what Katie Joy says and run with it. We cannot. But there are certain things in these clips that you heard that it's such intimate details that only a family member would know, in my opinion. I could be wrong, and that's fine. This is just my opinion about things. She states in that Instagram post that she did, don't call CPS, she's just reporting on hearsay. Now it's hearsay? You just spoke about how people are scared to be around this family. They don't want anybody to babysit for them. These people are just like basically walking zombies at this point. That's just my words. Abuse went on. She stated that abuse went on for years. She even got the years the abuse went on for, carried on for, which I've never heard that being reported. It was just reported, you guys, that he did this to his siblings for a few months. Nobody, please correct me if I'm wrong, nobody has reported that the abuse went on for longer than that, and it probably didn't even stop. Katie, you even said that you are learning that there are a lot of people in this family that are struggling with deep mental illness. That people are afraid to be around these people, Katie Joy. You even said in your video, we need to help these kids. You say that people want this to stop. They want the kids to be safe. They want these kids to stop being under Jim Bob's thumb. You even stated, Katie Joy, that there is so much sexual, psychological, emotional abuse. And also, on top of that, that they are psychologically, spiritually, and emotionally trapped. You state that Jenna, at 32 years old, doesn't know that she can leave this home. But then after the fact, you want to now be extremely clear that your job is just to report the stories. And your job is not to report these people to CPS based upon hearsay. Now it's hearsay, Katie Joy. After you've said all this about the Duggars, how the kids are in harm's way, the kids are abused, Jenna at 32 years old doesn't even know that she can leave. You even stated we need to help these kids. How are you helping these kids? Because now it's all hearsay. But it's not hearsay when you are making those thousands of dollars every month off these people, Katie Joy. Then you say that people should not file CPS reports because they do not know a child or nor has or they have not witnessed a child being abused. You stated it in your video, on your live, on your Instagram live, Katie Joy. Let me refresh your memory.
Honestly, you guys, after what I learned yesterday, Jill should not talk to these people. No one should talk to these people. No one. There's a lot of illness going on in this, and it's a lot of sexual, it's The family's very sick and she's not safe around them.
Your job is not to interfere. Wait, let me get this right, okay? You talking about or reporting about a story that in your word says it's as bad as the Turpins. So you said also in your live that these people wanted to stop. How are you going to help them to stop this, Katie Joy? Because clearly, once again, nobody must call CPS. This is all hearsay. But you're making those AdSense on these people's heartbreak, on these people's pain. You, once again, I'm going to emphasize and say this, Katie Joy. You said we need to help these kids. So what if people call CPS? They need to be helped if it's true what you're saying. Because those things that you said about those kids seem as fact. You yourself, the look on your face, you seemed so saddened. Now you're worried about the Duggars having federal prosecutors down their necks. When did you have the come to Jesus moment? Oh, and we do know that the kids are being watched, Katie, because you never ever let a moment go by where you don't give the whereabouts, in my opinion, because it's on our Instagram, with their faces shown, where Josh and Anna's kids are at all times. So how do we go from we need to help these kids to, oh, please don't call CPS. I just report on stories. Or this is just hearsay. Can you make up your fucking mind? Which is it? Because in my humble opinion, these people are just clicks and views for you so you can garner the revenue. Because why? I can't even put words to this. You took a story that you were tipped off about on how Oprah Winfrey questioned Jim Bob Duggar about the whole Josh situation, and he admitted to Oprah Winfrey about all this. And what did Oprah Winfrey do? Oprah Winfrey called the authorities, okay? You telling the exact same story, not exact same story, but a similar story, but also explaining the tragedy of this family, explaining the trauma of this family, the kids, should I say. Parents are fucked up. Why aren't you calling authorities, Katie Joy? We need to help the kids. We don't know, this is worse than we thought it was. That's what you said. So how do you get from this is so bad, my words, to, oh no, don't call CPS? But then you want to help these kids. I don't get it. I truly don't get it. You don't give two shits about anybody in this family. You're just there to report the story, get the clicks, get the views, in my opinion, and get that AdSense at the end of every month. So just one more thing. Look how she's poking the bear. And I'm talking about Jim Bob Duggar. She puts this on her Facebook. Dear Jim Bob and Michelle, happy day you believers celebrating Satan, Halloween. We had a blast. Why again did you not let me dress up your ex-daughter, Ginger? So you guys, I'm going to end this by saying this. Could it possibly be that Amy Duggar King decided to rally her two cousins? Just my opinion, just a thought. She decided to rally Ginger and Jill to sit down and have a heart-to-heart with Katie Joy, to get Katie Joy the clout, basically a 2-in-1, okay? She gave them all the information, allegedly. Katie Joy will put it out to hurt Jim Bob's race or running for state senate. And in turn, Katie Joy get a clout or get a credibility, which I think will be highly impossible. Just my opinion. So basically kill two birds with one stone. But I don't think they would really all all this is just alleged. This is just me thinking in my mind, okay? These people, Amy Duggar King, her mom, Jill, aren't all these people sitting with NDAs? And don't we know by now that Katie Joy does not keep her sources tight? So you guys, that's it. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you so much for joining me. Please be safe out there. Don't forget to wear your mask. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and the notification bell so you'll be notified each time I upload. And also, please be kind to one another. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.